Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the warm-up done out for you. Hopefully you've all tried them on your own, given them an honest effort, I hope. So let's get to it. What you first need to look for are perfect squares. I put the perfect squares from 1 through 12 on the right-hand side. Notice we have 25 in number 1. So that's just equal to 5. If you don't have a perfect square, you might try to see if it has a factor of perfect squares, right? So in this case, if you looked at factors of 108, you have 1 and 108. You have 2 and 54. You also have 3 and 36. 36, look at that. Perfect square down there. So remember, you can rewrite this, if you remember from Mr. D's video, as 3 times 36 underneath. And then since 36 is a perfect square, we can write that as 6 root 3. Remember, because 36 is 6 times 6. We need 2 to pull 1 out. And I always learned that the radical sign is kind of like a prison or jail, and it takes 2 to escape, but only 1 makes it. So if that helps, that little story helps you, remember that you don't bring both of them out, you only bring 1 out. But you need 2 underneath. So one's got to help the other one get out, basically. All right, so that would be our final answer, 6 root 3. Then we have a fraction. And if you remember from Mr. Derenthal's video or your notes, that you can rewrite it as square root of each number individually, because our goal is we don't want to have a square root in the denominator, or we can't have one. But in this case, 16 is a perfect square, so we can make that equal to 4. So we would get the square root of 3 divided by 4. And we can't simplify the square root of 3 any further because it's just 3 times 1 are the only factors, and that would be our final answer. All right, the next one, number 4, square root of 36, that's easy, right? We did that already, that's just 6. Now we have x to the 4th. So if we look at that part, it's just x times x times x times x. So again, we need 2 to get 1 out. So that gets 1x out, and then we have 2 more, and that gets a second x out. So we've gotten rid of everything underneath the square root, and now we have 2 x's. So we're just going to write that x squared, and that would be our final answer. Hopefully that makes sense. Now we can do that evenly as long as what? The exponent is an even number. It's just going to be half. Half of 4 is 2. But sometimes you'll have what? Odd numbers, like in number 5. So we're going to have to take each one individually. So the square root of 75 is 3 times 25. I'll spare you from going through all the factors. 25 is a perfect square. So we can pull a 5 out. So that's 5 root 3. Then we've got 3 s's, right? S times s times s. It's s to the 3rd power. 2 of them can get 1 out. Right, so we get rid of those 2 and we have 1 outside. So that gives us s square root of s. And then we have 5 t's. T times t times t times t times t. All right, so the 2 can pull 1 t out. The next 2 can pull a second t out, so that's t squared. And we have 1 t left over. So that's going to be t squared root t. And then all we need to do is combine all 3 pieces. Let's start with everything that's outside the square root. So we have a 5, we have one s, and we have a t squared. So let's cross those out as we write them. So we have 5st squared. That's all outside of the square root symbol. And then we have a 3 left over inside. Can't do anything more with that. That's a prime number. We have an s, and we also have a t. And again, you can cross all those out as you take care of them. And guess what? That's going to be our final answer. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, last but not least, we've got a hairy-looking factoring problem here. So when you see these and we don't have a squared, like a y squared, y, and a nothing, remember that's our ax squared plus bx plus c form. Remember that's from 7-4. You want to go look back at that if you need to. We don't have that, right? We have y to the 8th, y to the 7th, and y to the 6th. Holy cow. So let's look at our coefficients first, which are our numbers. We have a 4, a 36, and an 81. 4 goes into 36 9 times, but does it go into 81? No, it doesn't. And what about 2? That's a factor of 4. 2 goes into 36 evenly, but not 81 because that's an odd number. So we can't factor any numbers out. But this one has 8 y's, this one has 7 y's, and this one has 6 y's. So guess what? They all have at least 6 y's. So we can factor y to the 6th out. Hopefully that makes sense. Remember, we want to find what they have, each monomial, in common. So then we got to see what's left over. We have 4 is still there. Y to the 6th times what gives us y to the 8th? That would be y squared. And then we still have the 36. Y to the 6th times what gives us y to the 7th? Just 1y, right? And then we have 81, and y to the 6th is y to the 6th, so we don't have to put anything else there. All right, now it looks like you might be done because we factored that y to the 6th out. But now look what's left over. Now we have exactly that, ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to see if we can factor that. Now your first thought might be to do the star method or guess and check, but remember in our special cases that we did in 7-5, and we will go over that homework next time, we need to look at the a and the c value. Guess what we have? We have 2 perfect square numbers, don't we? 4 and 81. So this might be one of those special cases, and let's see. So what gives us 4y squared? Is it a perfect square? It sure is. 2y times 2y gives us 4y squared. And then for 81, it's just 9 times 9. And if you know your special cases, we have 2 plus signs. So we're going to get 2y plus 9 times 2y plus 9. And again, you can FOIL it, right, to make sure. I just did the front and the back, the first and the last. So I will do the OI, right, the outside and the inside. So 9 times 2y is 18y, and 2y times 9 is 18y, and that gives us 36y for a middle term, and that's what it is. So we know that that's correct. So we can't forget about this y to the 6th we factored out already. So our final answer is going to be y to the 6th, and then because these are the same, we're just going to put 2y plus 9 squared. And that would be our final answer. That's as complicated as they get. And you'll see stuff like this in 7-6, which is going to be the homework. All right. So, speaking of which, for homework and the rest of class, you need to do the following. It's going to be page 501, numbers 1 through 35, just the odds, so you can check your answers. And the other thing I want you to do is take notes on page 98 to 500. Go over those examples and take notes. Because everything we learned, just like in number 6 here that we just did, you might have to do a couple of different types of factoring in the same problem. So first you see if you can factor anything out of it, like we did the y to the 6th power, and then with what's left over, see if that falls into a special case or maybe just a normal factoring problem. Remember, you can always just factor that 4y squared plus 3xy plus 81 using the star method if you want. But I think looking for those special cases can save you some time and effort. All right, so these are notes. Please put some of those examples in your notes. That's going to be our notes for today. And again, I'm sorry I'm missing. I had to go to golf today, and we will go over the quiz on Wednesday, and we will also answer any other questions you have. Remember, use IXL. Please get the extra credit, number one, but also get the extra practice. A lot of you did not do well in the quiz. And again, we'll go over that on Wednesday, but we got to get to know this stuff. You've got to know when you see something like ax squared plus bx, something in that form, you got to know that it's going to end up being two binomials like this. 2y plus 9 times 2y plus 9. It's mandatory. We need to put more time into studying. Please do it. Our test is going to be next week. So let's put in the effort, put in the time, and your rewards will be good in terms of your grade. All right. So get to work on taking those notes and then work on these problems. And we will see you on Wednesday. All right. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Bye.